Yeah, man. I would have told him, you know how long?
I'll pray with you. I'll pray with you.
Cool, bro. Yeah, I would have told him, you know how long? That's it. Never mind 18, 28. Would have said, you know how long?
Together we gon' be alright. That's life.
Sweet, bro. I'm ready whenever you are, man. Let's start with your name, age, and where you were born then, please.
Yeah, that's cool. My name is Juddah James. I'm 34. That's mad. I'm 34. Going to be 35 in September. I was born in Birmingham. Lived in London for a bit and then came back.
Okay.
So yeah.
What brought you back?
Let's just say a bit of trouble.
Okay.
I think that's the easiest way to put it. My mum, I basically almost got stabbed. My dad did as well. So my mum decided that I need to come back to Birmingham.
Where was that, in London?
Yeah, in London. The area I lived in London. It was a predominantly white area. So I was pretty heavily racially abused as a kid. Yeah, something that, if I'm completely honest, it sounds crazy, but it made me. It made me. When I was younger, I had a lot of, like, even now I've got the two piercings here, but I had a lot more. And even my tattoos and stuff. And it's down to a man that literally saved my life. And it was his own son. He saved me from. Basically, this boy came at me with a screwdriver. And his dad came out the door and grabbed him and held him and said, like, what are you doing? Basically, this boy had been influenced by his friends at school to hate different ethnicities rather than just black people. And he came in with a screwdriver. And his dad, Danny, never forget him. He had loads of tattoos, piercings, everything. And he saved me. And since that day, I've wanted to be like him. Is the easiest way to put it. So I was filling myself up with tattoos and piercings from as young as I could. Probably about 16, 17.
So did you still speak to that guy?
No, I've never actually got to speak to him any deeper than what I wish I could have, especially now as a grown man. I think it's conversations that we need to have. You understand where I'm coming from, especially in a time where
platforms about, man.
100%, especially in a time where everyone is fighting against someone for something, whether it be because of gender, whether it be because of race, religion, or money, living in poverty, not living in poverty. There's all these different reasons for people to argue. And I think we focus too much on negativity. So I try and focus on the positives.
So what ways do you focus on the positive?
Which ways? I mean, the biggest motivation I have to focus on positives is my kids. Which hasn't been an easy relationship due to a lot of things, music as well. Obviously, chasing a dream, there isn't that much money in it. So it meant that my relationship suffered, not just with my kids, with my girlfriends at the time as well. So now I just try and push all my energy into my kids, really. Focusing on positive stuff. The way I look at it is this: if all you do is focus on the negative, all you're going to bring is negativity. If you focus on the positive, and it's hard, believe me, sometimes there's times where I've been in situations and thought to myself, how the hell am I going to get through these? But I believe that the higher God, Allah, whichever one you call him, like, I don't believe you are handled any more than you can handle, if that makes sense. Like, I generally believe that everything you are given, whether it's hard, whether it's you can handle it, is just how you see it in your head. Okay, cool. Let's say, for instance, we're in a situation, 6 or 7 people have not been able to do X, Y, Z. Okay, but they've got now they've got more time to focus on what they need to do and how they want to do it, so that when they're ready to perform, or when there is a space for them to perform or do whatever they're doing, they're going to be at their peak in that situation. And yeah, I always look for a silver lining. Like, that's on. I can't explain it.
That's just in your nature.
Yeah, it's just in my nature. I think for a long time it wasn't. My head wasn't great. I actually had a breakdown in 2018, 2019, maybe a little later. And it's just because I was so focused on doing and being what everybody else expected me to be, rather than being myself. And that comes from all different walks of life: music, relationships, family, kids. Like, I wasn't being myself. I was being what I thought people wanted me to be.
How did that affect you? What was your breakdown like?
It sent me mad. I spent 8 or 9 months inside with be to no one. At one point, my mum came to my house, my flat, and she rang the door, and I just looked at her from the window, from the balcony. And I didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want to be around anyone. But it wasn't because of people. It's because I knew at that point I was being volatile to other people based on what I was going through.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And it wasn't good to isolate myself. I realize that now. It wasn't good to isolate myself, but I feel like at that point, that's what I needed. I needed to be alone. Like, just
all the way.
Yeah, I couldn't, in my head, because in my head, I wanted music my whole, like, honestly, I've been doing music from I left college up until that point. And in my head, I had to be a musician. I had people compare me to Chris Brown, compare me to Tory Lanez, all these different people. And it made me say, okay, well, I could go this route. And I could go, rather than saying, what route do I want to be on? You understand what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just realized, like, even growing up, like, my mom's a Jehovah's Witness. And it's, a lot of people think it's a cult. And I understand to a degree why people think it's a cult. But it's like any other religion. There's just more rules. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up in that, which meant I felt like I had to behave like a Jehovah's Witness.
Did that affect you as a
kid?
kid?
And then I got to 18, and again, the tattoos and pit, just because, like, rebellion, I was at, like, and even now, like, I've got tattoos that aren't even finished. And it's because I don't feel like I am, I don't feel like I'm the same person as I was when I started getting tattoos. You understand where I'm coming from?
Okay.
But yeah, like, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, so I felt like I had to be that. But at the same time, I was going to school with people who weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, so I had to be a different person. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Then I left school, got in my first relationship and wanted to be who she wanted me to be. And then...
So then you split 3 ways.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So then and it's not like I'm being a different person, it's just they expect different sides of me. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And yeah, it just got a lot. It just got a lot. And then obviously you go to work and you've got professional and stuff, and it's like, I was just in dead-end jobs, silly jobs I didn't want to be in.
What type of stuff did you do?
Bro, I did retail, customer service. Like, man, I could sell a camel sand. Like, that was what really drove me. Even when it comes to being musically, like, I'm someone who like to think I'm quite good with my words. I don't have a huge vocabulary, which I am working on, by the way. I'm working on. I don't have a huge vocabulary, but I'd like to think that's another thing that makes me good at talking to people, because not everybody has a big vocabulary.
No.
Not everybody knows, like, huge words or the meaning of few words. Like, they might stand there and but they don't really understand. I like to put things in layman terms all the time. And sometimes it comes across disrespectful, but it's not. I'm just putting it in a way that I would understand and you would understand. If you want to put some fancy words in there, that's absolutely fine. I don't feel like that's needed. That's just how I am.
That's cool, man. That's exactly who you are, and that's who you should be.
That's it.
That's who you should be all the time.
I think that's what I had to find. I had to figure out what I wanted. Because for the 8-9 months I was in my house by myself, and when I say I was in my house, I was 12 stone at the beginning of my breakdown. By the time I finished, I was 9.5, and it's because I wasn't eating properly. All I was doing was smoking weed every single day, like, to the point where sometimes I wouldn't know what day it was, what time it was. I'd just be zoned, and it's because we're constantly told weed's cool. Weed's going to help your anxiety. Weed's going to help your depression. It's a lie. It's a lie. Having to smoke a zoo before you go out shows you how bad your addiction is. Having to smoke a zoo before you clean, it's addiction. Having to smoke a zoo before you write a song. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't use it for creativity, but if you get to that point where having to smoke before you do anything, or after you do anything, it's an addiction. And do you want to know the truth? A lot of people will say, "Oh, he's a baghead. He's a baghead." The difference between a lot of bagheads is this: you will see a baghead in a Mercedes and say, "Oh yeah, he's got money. He's cool." You will see the same person, exactly the same person, just not as much money. And they're a baghead too, but you will call them a baghead. The person in the Mercedes, you will say, "Oh, it's a businessman." There's no difference. The only difference is the lifestyle they've been handed, they've been given or taken for themselves. So yeah, that's just how I look at things. I think.
So you don't smoke now? You totally clean?
I wouldn't say I don't smoke all. I wouldn't say I don't, but
you don't let it rule you.
Yeah, I need to find a moderation. Like, let's say for instance, this morning my friend texted me and he was like, "Yo, wake up, babe." And I was like, "Yeah, I got things to do." You understand?
Yeah.
And that's why. Yeah, it's the difference between a junkie and someone who takes drugs is, can you still function? Is that drug doing more for you, or are you doing more for that drug than you are for yourself? You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And it got to that point where I was doing more for the weed than I was doing for myself, and I was like, "This has got to change." I actually went to therapy. I had to go to therapy. Like, it was something that was important, not just for me, but for my family. My relationship with my parents has greatly improved. With my children has improved. Even my children's moms. And even just that itself, before I would have said baby mother, I now see that as disrespectful. My kids' mom.
Yeah, it changes perspective.
Yeah, it changes your whole perspective on everything. Believe it, man. And yeah, I'm just very focused now. Very focused.
So what do you focus on? How do you take your mind off those type of things?
Music.
Creativity.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like I said, I'm not saying I don't partake on that occasion. I'm not saying I don't partake when I do some music, but to get myself away from the stresses that cause me to smoke, because that's what happens most of the time. I need to smoke a cigarette. I need to smoke a cigarette. You understand the frustration? Yeah. I will sit down and I will write my feelings out. Like, for instance, back in the day, I had a song called I Go. I go where I have to, because I know. And I made it into a love song, but that song was actually about my child. At the time, I was having a very difficult time seeing my child, and I wanted her to understand, like, I would do what I can. You understand where I'm coming from? So that's what that was. I've got loads of songs like that. I've got a song called One and Only, and it's about my son. Like, I wasn't seeing him at the time, so I made the song. I got loads of songs that I've made into love songs, but they're about my kids. Like,
if you love them,
that's it. That's the honest truth. And that's what the focus is. Like, I can't explain it. That's what the focus is.
So what does creativity as a whole mean to you?
Having fun, man. Having fun. Living life, expressing yourself, and being yourself. That's it. Being creative for me, as well as that, it's a release. Like, there have been days where I have been at the bottom of the barrel, and I've made a good song, and it's lifted my mood completely. Completely changeable. Creativity, for me personally, it's a release, man. Definitely is. Like, even because I stopped doing music from, I want to say 2019 till about 2023, the beginning of 24. I still released a few songs and stuff, but I'd stopped doing it, stopped pursuing it, stopped going to shows and stuff like that. I was just doing it at home and releasing songs. And yeah, like, I could just feel anxiety building up in myself. I became severely depressed. Actually, I had to go back to therapy again. So yeah, like, it's a release more than anything.
Do you think the lack of creativity plays on your mental health?
I think it can do, definitely. I mean, everyone. Oh, then again, saying that, even writing is creative.
Yeah.
Painting is creative. So yeah, I definitely do. Even when you're doing a mathematics equation, I might have said that wrong. Even when you're doing a mathematics equation, like, literally, you still have to create in your brain a way to solve that equation, which is still being creative. So yeah, I generally believe, and even problem solving, you've got an issue with a friend or with family members or anything, you're being creative because you try and find a way to fix that. That's the way I look at things anyway. And I've always been someone who's kind of looked into other fields that I've been in and seen how I can draw into. Okay, I used to pack vans with my dad. That's what we used to do. So now when it comes to silly little things like moving furniture around the house and stuff like, I'm very good at it, and it's purely because I've had to do it for so many years. But it's something I've brought over. It's a silly example. I can't think of it anyways. I started writing poetry. I never used to write songs. That's how I started.
Initially,
I started on poetry. Yeah. So basically, when I was living in London, like I said, I used to get bullied. So I used to write poetry.
How old was you then, sorry?
I want to say between the ages of 8 to 13.
Okay.
It was strange, man. It was strange, but it's the reason why my mind is so open now. I find a lot of people are stuck on the whole racism thing. For me, personally, myself, someone of mixed heritage. First of all, my mom is Guyanese, Scottish, and Pakistani, and my dad is Jamaican. So we have a very mixed,
that's a good heritage.
You understand? Thank you very much. It's a very mixed cultural background. So I don't really look at racism. I don't, especially because there was a point where I remember being 11 years old, and one week, there was some work going on not far from my house. And some of the men saw me, and they decided to follow me in a van home every day for the week and just shout the N-word at me. Just while I was walking, just shouting at me.
White guys.
Yeah. And it was horrible. Like, that was horrible. That was racism. Like, that was racism. But when I don't know, there's a point where it's not racism. Sometimes people just say things. Like, for instance, my girlfriend's white. Crazy, right? My girlfriend's white. And even she has been upset because she's been in situations where she's wanting to say, well, actually, my boyfriend's black. But she knows if she says that, people will say, well, that's racism. It's like, no, it's natural for people to say, well, actually, I've got this happening at home. You understand where I'm coming from? And so, like, it's very difficult. At one point, I got chased down by 40 white boys aged 12 to 17 when I was 13. And that's when my mom said, like, you need to go now. And it's like I said, the person who saved me was the racist guy's dad. And I don't even think the boy was racist. I think he was just young and easily influenced.
So how does that play on your mind when you look at other white people? Do you feel that they're hiding some type of racism, or do you feel nothing at all?
No, I see people for people.
For how they treat you.
Yeah, I couldn't give a damn what color your skin is. I couldn't give a damn how long your hair is, how short your hair is, how tall you are. I don't care. If you're a good person, I don't care. That's just how I am. And the reason I've had to be like that, especially growing up in that kind of, imagine if every single person that come up to me, I was like, nah, you're racist. You're racist. I would have been, I was lonely. Don't get me wrong. I would have been hella lonely if I did that. But then as well as that, I think about things like this. Like, I used to have a chip on my shoulder and say, I'm going to get sacked from a job because I'm black. If you walk into a workplace with that attitude and don't work hard because you feel like you're going to get sacked, why wouldn't you get sacked anyway? Yeah. And that's my mentality. Like, for people to say, and don't get me wrong, I understand the numbers, but like, there's black millionaires, there's white millionaires, there's Indian millionaires, there's all these people. None of them say, I'm not working with that one because they're white. I'm not working with that one because they're black. I'm not working with that one because it doesn't happen.
Money's got no color.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And it sounds really bad, but I generally believe that people in poverty are worried about the wrong thing. People in poverty, whether they're black, white, Asian, yeah, that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, if all of these three races, let's say, or genders, came into the same place and said, you know what, we're going to take on the one problem I can guarantee we'd beat it before the problem got any bigger. Because we're all joined, and this is the bit that doesn't register for me. From when we were kids, we were told, what's the easiest way to conquer? Divide and conquer. Yet everybody allows every little division to get in between them. It just doesn't make sense. And honestly, I think people just need to start having conversations about it.
Yeah, I think that's most of this platform's aim, mate, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think the divide is exactly what keeps us blind-eyed from what's really attacking us.
it's true. And you find it everywhere. It happens everywhere. Even in the workplace, managers don't really speak to the people that are just workers. CEOs don't talk to the managers.
Hierarchy.
You understand where I'm coming from? And it's the same everywhere. It's the same everywhere, but then everybody wants... For instance, I was at a show yesterday, and their first lot performed, and then they left. And I thought to myself, all right, cool. Everybody, I came to the show early to make sure I support everyone. And I'm thinking to myself, you're going to expect support from everyone, but you're not going to give support.
Yeah.
And you just... Little things like that make me think to myself, how did you get to a point where you thought you don't have to treat people the same way you want to be treated?
Yeah.
You understand? Like, how do you get there?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
I think it's that hierarchical system again.
Apologies.
Or maybe it's just ego.
It is definitely. I think ego plays a huge part in it. As well as that, social media as well. Because you're constantly showing everyone the good side of your life on social media, you don't want it to go wrong. You don't want anything not to be the way that you want it to be. As well as that, if you gotta get a picture, move that to the right a little bit. You understand? So it's like people pick and choose how they are viewed, and then it gets misconstrued as well. Like, even I've done it sometimes. I've been like, I'm gonna quickly check TikTok. 2 o'clock. Okay, cool. Now it's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So even I've done it, but it's like...
It's the most addictive thing.
It's addictive, but it's like... Then you think to yourself, well, what's real? You've been sat in this phone for ages. Everyone's laughing along and all these likes and all these comments and no. You think to yourself, well, what's real? What's real? And don't get me wrong, the likes and the comments, yeah, they're great. You're not going to make anywhere near the progress. Never mind the money. You're not going to make anywhere near the progress just because of those likes and comments. Yes, you'll be able to show them, but yourself as a person, you're not going to make any progress. All it's going to do is mean that next time you post, you're going to want more. If you don't get more, you're going to be disappointed. You understand?
You're always chasing that.
That's what it is. Because I'll be honest, I'm on TikTok. I've nearly got 10,000 followers. I hit 1 million views on a video not long ago. I say not long ago, a couple of years ago. And after it happened, constant.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I can't live like this. I can't. I stopped posting and everything. Stopped posting for ages. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It can take over, can't
yeah,
it?
it can.
Yeah.
It can. And that's where I was when I quit music. Because I was focused on the numbers. I was thinking to myself, yo, I should be getting one. I should be, no. And because I wasn't, it frustrated me. And I stopped music. But not only that, like I said, it was affecting the relationships with my kids as well. Relationship with my girlfriend at the time. And my mental health. I had people calling me friends, telling me they were my brother. And they were taking monies from shows that I was doing but weren't paying me anything. You understand what I'm coming
I've
from?
heard the same things from a few guys.
That's what it is. And I think the saddest part about that is you then see people get to a certain point, make a certain amount of money, and everyone's like, yo, I need X, Y, Z, I need this, I need that. No. And when they're like, no, everyone's like, you're selfish, you're horrible, nah. And it's like,
You've changed.
it's like, bro, you've changed.
That's the one.
Bro, do you know why that's hilarious? Are we not supposed to grow? Isn't that what we're here for? You've changed, yeah, and you haven't.
Yeah.
And you haven't. Like, literally, I could have come here 10 years ago and seen you here. You understand where I'm coming from?
We're meant to change.
We're meant to change, we're meant to grow. If we don't change, I'm sorry, there's something wrong.
It's the only thing that's certain.
Yeah, it is. As well as that, for you to believe that at the age of, let's say, well, if you never change, if you believe from birth that you're never supposed to change, what are you doing? You'd still be sucking your thumb and drinking our bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You change. That's just what happens. That's how we are. You could change. You could have a pair of trainers today, and 2 weeks down the line, oh, I don't really like the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You change. That's just how we are as people. That's just how we are. I think the worst kind of people are the people that don't change. You need to have an open mind. You need to be able to change. That's just life. How else are you going to adapt? And if you're not going to adapt, you're going to expect everyone else to adapt to you, so they're going to change. It doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. So yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. What was it like growing up in a Jehovah's Witness home?
Cut that face up. It was difficult, man. We didn't really celebrate birthdays, Christmas. I say that my mom used to take us because it was family time. But there'd be times where we didn't get presents while everyone else did. We'd go back to school and everyone would be like, "Yo, what did you get for Christmas? What did you get?" And my birthday's on the 1st September, so it'd be the day after we'd go back to school, or we'd go back on my birthday. And people were like, "Oh, it's your birthday today." I'm like, yeah. I'd celebrate. I wasn't even allowed into assembly because they would sing hymns. Sorry, am I messing up? I'm like, I'll say that again. But yeah, I couldn't even go into assembly because they used to sing hymns. So it was difficult at times, very isolating. Is the easiest way I can put it. And like I said, I tried to live up to a reputation I felt like I couldn't in the end, is artistry. And now, as an adult, I can honestly say it is something that I have leaned on.
Religion in general, or
religion? I say religion, more spirituality. I don't believe in organized religion, only because, like I said, I don't believe in divisions. I don't see the point. Like, if you call your God Allah, that's cool. You call him God, that's cool. Whatever you call your God, that's up to you. Jah, whatever, that's cool. That's absolutely fine.
I tend to say the Creator.
There you go. I'm exactly the same. I say a higher power. That's what I believe. I believe there's a higher power. I don't believe in religion. Even a lot of religions, if you read the Bible, it will say, because I've read a few different Bibles, it will say that God should have no name or symbol. What does every religion have for God?
Mm-hmm.
They have a symbol. Every religion has a name for God. You understand where I'm coming from? So for me, it's not for me. As well as that, I don't believe that you should have to go to a building every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to read a book on how to be a good person, it
should be instilled within us.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
If you have to read a book to be a good person, then that's the only way we can put it. But yeah, as a Jehovah's Witness, like I said, it's very isolating.
What were some of the things that are different to the norm? You know, you say that you couldn't go into assembly at school.
I couldn't go into assembly at school. I remember one time I got caught watching, is it MTV Base?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I got caught watching it. I say caught. I was watching, was it No Diggity? Yeah, I think it was. I was watching No Diggity video, and my mom decided it was soft porn because there was half-naked women in there. Which to a degree, she's not wrong. I probably shouldn't have been watching it at the age I was watching it. But it's quite normal now for that kind of thing. Like you see on Instagram, girls are in bikinis and stuff like that. So, do you want to know the honest truth?
Yeah.
I don't agree with religion, but a lot of what has been installed in me is because of Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's say, for instance, you go into town and you'll hear a Christian man shouting about Jesus. You hear a Muslim man songs in the background, his prayers, sorry. I'm not trying to be disruptive to no one. You'll hear his prayers in the background. What do you see Jehovah's Witnesses do?
It's usually standing trying to pass a book.
Quietly, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't say, here you go, have this. They don't say, no, they just give you the opportunity to take it if you want it. And
mm-hmm.
Alright, cool. But everyone complains about them knocking the door. Like Christians don't do it, right?
The Christians don't do that.
Christians knock the door too. They just don't do it as often.
Okay.
And I understand that, which it gets annoying. At the same time, when they come to your door, all you have to say is, well, I'm not interested. And a lot of the time, you'll have the odd stubborn one that's like, boy, you know, I understand that. I get that. My mum. Yeah.
It's just like Scottish Power knocking your door.
That's it. You understand? But that's it. All you have to do is say, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Even, like I said, they will stand in town and they will stand there with a book. But they're still one of the most ridiculed people in the world. And that's what I found. The more quiet you are in this world, the more you'll be ridiculed. I feel the louder people, because they have more of a voice and they have more to say, they don't get ridiculed as much. And even when they do, because they can...
Do you think that it's depicted in that way because of some of the things that have came out about Jehovah's Witnesses in bigger congregations, maybe?
To be honest, I would have to know what come out. One thing that I don't agree with that
I think like the cultish type of...
I understand that. Okay, here is them. When you say cultish, what do you mean by cultish? Because there's a lot of things to do with Jehovah's Witnesses that people say are cultish. The reason they don't celebrate birthdays, this is way too deep. The reason they don't celebrate birthdays is because there was a king
near deep enough.
There was a king in the Bible, and on his birthday he would slaughter people on his birthday. But as well as that, what do most people do on their birthday? It's all about them on that day, isn't it? Oh, it's my day. I want this and I want that because it's my birthday. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. So you feel like
a selfish thing.
You understand where I'm coming from? So Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays, so they don't go in. They don't slip or fall into that. That's what that is. Christmas. There wasn't even 12 months in the calendar when Jesus was alive.
He wouldn't have been born
in December.
Would he? No.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Not only that, we've all been told that Christmas is a pagan celebration, but we still do it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't celebrate Christmas. If you want to celebrate, even though I now celebrate Christmas, it's purely for my kids.
Yeah.
That's it. You understand where I'm coming from? So, like, cultish, I understand, they're very, I don't want to be involved. That's what that is. It feels like a cult, because they're very much, okay, here's the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because on the internet now, what's everyone talking about? You should be able to set your boundaries, and if anyone doesn't respect your boundaries, it's their problem. And no. That's what everyone's saying now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. They set their boundaries. And when people like I said, in town, you will hear a Muslim man's prayers. You will hear a Christian man, if you do not believe in Jesus, you will burn in hell. You don't hear that from Jehovah. They're just with a book. That's it. You understand where I'm coming from? Like I said, it's to do with loud and quiet, and that's what I believe in. So yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses, when it comes to being a cult, like I said, it was very isolating, 100%. It's a bit like, the only thing I can compare it to, being Amish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I say that, obviously I don't know everything about Amish people, so if I'm offended, then I apologize. But like, it's very much, okay, we want to live here like this. Like, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in government. The government can't run the world because the world isn't man-made. It's made by a higher power. Mm-hmm. So how are you in charge of it?
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from? They don't believe in it.
Land.
Yeah. Not one Jehovah's Witness got a COVID jab. I can promise you that. You understand where I'm coming from? And look how many people now regret getting a COVID jab.
Or how many are dead from it.
There you go. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So they're doing something right. Do you want to know the truth? I haven't had one jab. Not one. From when I was a baby, haven't had one.
Or nothing at all?
Nothing at all. My mum wouldn't let them.
Okay.
Would not let them. You understand where I'm coming from? And a lot of people now, what are they fighting and crying about when it comes to jabs? Why do babies have to have so many? Why is there 3 or 4 different jabs? 3 or 4 different jabs when I was a kid now are combined into one jab. That can't be safe.
Nah, surely.
You understand where I'm coming from? Sure. So, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why people are curious about those witnesses. Do a little research and believe me, like, you'd see. And if I'm completely honest, the only reason I wouldn't say I'm a Jehovah's Witness is because of how I live. I don't live as a Jehovah's Witness would say to live, but that's only because, like I said, I don't believe in religion. I believe in higher power. Definitely. I believe we were created by something that isn't on this earth. But I also believe that as people, we can be good people without reading a book every Sunday and being shouted at and told, put someone in a basket.
Did you find any type of solace in those places or do you still go? Or
I went recently, to be honest.
Okay.
Basically, so the end of 2023, I ended up in hospital. Yeah, I had to learn to walk again.
What was that from?
I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder.
Oh, okay.
Had to learn to walk again. Suddenly had to learn to talk again. I was slurring and stuff. And I really drew on it then. And don't get me wrong, I've always slightly prayed to the higher power anyway. That's just how I am. But at that point, I drew on Jehovah. I spoke to Jehovah and I said, like, I need your help right now. Like, that's what I needed. I read some more of the Bible. I read the story of Job, where basically the devil and God were arguing, and the devil and God, I can't believe I remember all these stories because my mom is forever trying to drill into me. But yeah, basically, God and devil were arguing and saying, well, he's only like that because he has all these riches and all these, and take it all away from him and see if he still praises you. And they took it all away from Job, and he still praised him. And he got back in tenfold by the time the story had finished. And like I said, the end of 23, I was in hospital. I had a house. I lost my house because I lost my job, because I just started a job when I got sick. I lost my car. I just started seeing my son again, which I needed my car for. So I was in a proper slump. One thing I didn't want to do was go back to the kind of mindset I was in when I went through my breakdown. So I went to go speak to people, but I started reading the Bible, and the story of Job really helped me. Like I said, you're never handed more than you can handle. And I needed to remind myself of that, and that's what that story did. So yeah, it's one of those. Like I said, I'm not a religious person, but I'm very spiritual. Very, very spiritual.
You can't help to draw from them things because of your childhood.
Yeah, 100%. My childhood, but as well as that, I don't know, I just look at it and I see, I personally myself see truth. Like, in most walks of life, normally the most ridiculed are the ones that are telling the truth. That's in my opinion, because nobody likes truth. The truth hurts. That's the honest. That's the honest truth. Nobody likes truth. The truth hurts. For them to stand in silence and offer you a book, and for you to feel like you're being impeded or you're being forced into doing something, is just strange to me. Even them knocking the door and you taking it as, oh, why are you knocking my door? No thanks, man. That's it. As well as that, we're told, like, you're constantly told, like, the truth hurts, and people don't like the truth. That's what it is.
How do we get people to realise that we need to look at the truth and start doing something about it?
Unfortunately, in this world, the way I would do it is give everyone a taste of their own medicine.
In what way?
A lot of people, especially in this day and age, can't be empathetic towards a situation unless they're actually in it.
Mm.
So yeah, it's one of those. What's the easiest way to make people realize or see the truth? Honestly, is to put them in a situation where they have no other option but to do it.
Do you think that the media misconstrues that though? So we're kind of trying to find it hard.
The media is a beast.
Yeah.
The media is a beast, bro.
So we find it hard to really know what is truth and lie.
100%. Even just your phone, even Google. You could go on Google and you could argue one thing, I could argue the other. You'd find statistics that see both.
Yeah.
Like, that's the honest truth. You'd find anything that, but as well as that, a lot of the time, statistics and stuff like that are misconstrued to suit people's arguments anyway. For instance, let's say men vs women, the gender pay gap. Yeah, I'm just talking as an example. Yeah, but okay, women are paid less than men. No. But they don't include the fact that they have more time off when it comes to maternity leave. They might have to take more time off to look after kids if they're single mothers. They don't include them facts, which will change all the numbers. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Mm.
And I'm not saying there isn't a gender pay gap before. Like, that's not an argument I'm trying to get into. Like, I'm just trying to say there's a lot more factors than what they offer up when it comes to all these different situations. Even like, let's say immigrants. A lot of people are arguing now that people coming over, and I'm not saying that immigrants shouldn't be allowed in the country. My grandparents are immigrants. I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed in the country. Well, our grandparents came here and built themselves up. A lot of the people that are now coming in the country are coming into the country because they know they can get for free. And
not for the right reasons.
I'm not blaming the immigrants. I blame the people that let them in. And the only reason I say that is because, yeah, the system, at the end of the day, if I know, and we're all the same, all of us, every single one of us, nobody can say anything to me. If we're in a line, yeah, and I know if I go here, I'm going to get 5 bananas. But if I go there, I'm going to get 10. Which queue am I going to stand in?
You think the more?
You're going to take the 10, innit? So why would anybody else in another country not come to this country if they're saying, yeah, it's open?
Mm.
And that's why blaming the people coming isn't going to work. It just doesn't. The people that are the problem are the people in charge of the country. That's the honest truth.
From the top down.
Yeah. I'll be honest, most countries, it's the government. Like, for instance, let's think about it. Okay, cool. They can't sort out this crisis. How long did it take them to do all the printing and stuff for Tesco's, Asda, Morrison's, Lidl, Audi, all of that for COVID? It didn't take it didn't take them a week, did it? It didn't take them anything. So you can store all of that in all the different stores all around the world, but you can't store out the immigration in one country. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. It's silly little things like that that let me know they don't want to make it easier for us. So why are we making it harder for ourselves?
I think that's the problem, is we're making it hard for ourselves.
We're making it harder for ourselves.
Who the real enemy is.
There you go. And that's what it is, man. So yeah.
Let's talk about your artistry then, man. What type of music do you produce?
Well, I'm a singer, rapper, and producer. So I honestly, sometimes I jump on my computer and I have no idea what I want to make. It just comes out. But my main forte is R&B, hip hop. That's what I really do. But I made a garage tune the other day. I made a K-pop tune not long ago, and a country song with someone as well.
Okay.
So I try and work with as many different artists as possible, because the thing with music is, especially if you're too stubborn about it, it won't work.
Versatile.
Yeah, you have to be versatile. But as well as, obviously, I'm not saying don't have any idea of what you want to do, where you want to go, but you can't be stuck in your way on how you want things, because you're not always right. That's just how it is, isn't it?
So where do you find your creativity?
I'm like, me and my girlfriend had an argument the other day. I made a song. Other than that, honestly, like I said, I've written songs about my kids and turned them into love songs. The garage songs that I wrote, a big inspiration for me there is actually Craig David. Being in London at the time I was a kid, I think he would have been about 16, 17, and he performed at a show in Southampton, where he's from. And my mom showed me a picture of him, and it was honestly, it's in my brain like no other thing. She showed me the picture, and there's a lot of white people standing around this black boy performing, and I looked at it and I thought to myself, maybe I can do that. And that was a big inspiration for me. It changed my perspective on a lot of stuff, like a lot of things.
So who else do you draw inspiration from?
Rap wise, I would say definitely Kano, Wretch 3T, that kind of stuff. Purely because, and don't get me wrong, like, if that's what you live in, that's fine. But I think Kano and Wretch kind of offer a way out of the stuff that we kind of grew up in. Like, after I moved from London, I moved into Handsworth. And I went to school in Leach, which was two conflicting areas. So I grew up in the middle of that, and then listening to artistry, to people like Bashi, Gets, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it means sometimes it's okay, one road, grime kind of stuff, but then other times it was hip hop, slow down, think about what you're doing, think about your next step kind of maneuver and stuff like that. So rap side, that's where I really got my inspiration from. Singing wise, like I said, Craig David, a huge inspiration for me. Lamar was a huge inspiration for me. Even Cisco, old school R&B, that's what I grew up on.
Drew Hill.
Yeah, Drew Hill, all them people. I don't really, it's going to sound so bad. I don't really like new school music. I think it all sounds the same. It all sounds the same, but as well as that, it's just, I need to think of the right way to say this, you know. Tell me where I can go. I understand where we've come from. I get that. Yeah, it was hard. It was gritty. It was greasy. It was on road. But all right, cool. Tell us where we can go now. You know what I mean?
You don't feel like there's much inspiration.
No.
I agree.
And unfortunately, I grew up in an era, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there weren't really people doing what they were saying in music, but there were people talking about things and not actually doing them. And I feel like that's taken a huge influence on a younger generation who are now stabbing and killing every week, every couple of days. There's someone that's this, there's someone that's that, missing, stabbed, hurt, dead. Like, you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And it's because of this, growing up listening to this music where they think these rappers are really doing what they say they're doing. Another thing I've never understood about that is we all grew up in an era where bad men don't talk. That's what we're told constantly.
Real bad man don't talk.
You understand where I'm coming from? But as well as that, the bit that gets me the most is you're going to snitch on yourself in all this music. And then when you get caught and go to prison, I got snitched on, you're going to snitch on me. No. It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then as well as that, you're going to call yourself a man, but when the consequences of your actions come, you're not ready to face them. You think you've got the right to call someone a snitch. I thought it was your friend, your family. I thought you wanted them free. So why didn't you go into the station and say, look, it was me, it wasn't him? But you're going to put up a status saying, free my guy.
A lot of contradictions in the world, isn't there, man?
It doesn't make sense. Honestly, it stresses me. It stresses me, man, because it just doesn't make sense. I think the reason it stresses and worries me so much is because I've got a son who's going to be 13 in October. And it scares me. Yeah. And I'm telling you all now. I'm telling you, you know what? I'm not even doing that because I'll just ruin my son's reputation. I ain't got time for that. I'll snitch, bro. For my son, but I don't care. I do not care.
Yeah, that's what it is. You did die for your kids, wouldn't you? You know.
What it is.
So these type of world events contribute to your artistry in any way?
Most definitely, man. I've got a song recently, I'm trying to remember the title, called Melanin. It's called Melanin. And basically, what it is, so I'm someone who makes a lot of sarcastic music. So basically, Melanin is saying, like, well, you're scared of me because I'm black. All right, cool. So I kind of play on it. But I do say, look, I might fit a statistic, but I'm coming out. I might look like, no, but I'm changing this and that. So, yeah. I try and, I don't know, when I was younger, music was all about showing off.
What you got.
Mm-hmm. Music for me now, personally, is, like I said, it's a release, but as well as that, it's a chance to say something that means something for me now. Like, I wrote a song recently called Differences, and the chorus is basically just about the state of the world. Can we settle our differences? Can we put hate aside? It's more than you and I, there's so much more to life. Can we settle our differences? I can't remember exactly, but yeah. And it's basically just about like I said, getting rid of the divisions. Like, we've got so much more. Like, as people, we could do so much more if we generally just put our heads together. Like, everyone's at this moment in time is so focused on being the pinnacle, being number one. And don't get me wrong, being number one is great, but at the same time, sometimes number two and number three will get the spotlight. But you can't get a number one without the rest of the numbers first. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like, and I know that sounds backwards, but you cannot be at the top of something that has no foundation.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from? And I think that was another thing that I had to realize for myself. And that's a lot of thing that a lot of people need to realize. You don't need to be number one. Like, I would gladly right now sit on the stage and just play a beat for someone. As long as I knew that I was part of that journey, I helped that. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes being part of a journey means I'm going to get you from here to here so you can get to here. You understand where I'm coming from? You know what? Someone who told me that, Major, rest in peace, man. He's just a wise man. I used to just sit down and listen to him talk something. So,
did he teach you a lot that you use in life?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the biggest thing that he taught me, that it sounds so small, but when you really peep it, it's huge. Nobody is born with common sense. Everything has to be taught. Everything. And it changed my perspective on people. Manners have to be taught. Thinking positive has to be taught. You understand? Being a nice person, to a degree, has to be taught. Like, it has to be installed within you from your parents or from whoever your guardian is. You understand where I'm coming from? So yeah, he changed my perspective on a lot, man. A hell of a lot. I did a song about 5 years ago called The Stanza YouTube video. And it was because of him, literally. In the first few bars, I mentioned him. And it's just because he was like, he said to me one day, "What are you doing here?" And it really made me question myself. I needed it.
What did you take from that?
I stopped doing music. It's mad. I stopped doing music, but it's because he asked me what I was doing there, but I think it's because I was stressed at the time. He could see it. It wasn't something I wanted to focus on. But as well as that, he said, like, you shouldn't be in this studio. You should be in a better one. Like, that's what it was. But at the time, I didn't feel like I said, I had people making money off my back. The manager that I had at the time, I heard have a conversation on the phone and say, "Don't F with my money," about me. Rather than saying, "Look, you're bothering this person. He doesn't like this." No, she just said, "Don't fuck with my money." So I found it very hard to trust people in the music industry. That's what happened. As well as that, because I was in music, my manager told me, "You want to be desirable, so don't really talk to anyone. You just sit over there and I'll be talking." But it was just so they could write down all the contacts that I would need.
So that make you feel?
Like I said, I didn't trust anyone. But as well as that, I had my own kind of things going on outside of music that made it hard to trust people anyway. Yeah.
Have you regained any of that trust now?
I trust people to be themselves. I trust people to be people. That's honest truth. Like, it sounds really bad. Most people are selfish.
100%.
That's honest truth. And what you'll find is the most selfish people don't want you to be selfish. And
because it's not directed at them.
Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, I just trust people to be themselves. But once you show me a side of you that I haven't seen before or that nobody else has seen, I don't care. Unless you apologize, hold yourself accountable, and show me that you're going to change. That's who you are.
Yeah.
That's it. That's honest truth. And that's why I pride myself very much on accountability. Like, I've done some very silly things. I'm far from perfect. Far from perfect.
You hold your hands up to.
Yeah, hold my hands up to. And you can check the records. And there's a couple of times where I've been in situations, I tell you the truth, I've been in police stations, and they said to me, don't you want a lawyer? And I said, nah. And they asked me, no. And I'll be like, yeah, this happened, that happened. They're like, you're telling the truth, innit? I'm like, yeah, I've got no reason to lie. No, the worst thing that's going to happen is someone's going to be upset with you. My mum and dad have been upset with me for silly little things when I was a kid. What are you going to do? You understand where I'm coming from? Like, that's just how I believe. That's just how I am. That's just how I am.
So were your parents creative in any way?
My mum was a singer, my dad was a rapper.
Oh, wicked.
So I got both.
So it's kind of been instilled as well.
Yeah. My mum, so we used to drive on the way from London to my dad in Birmingham. And vice versa sometimes. But my mum used to put songs on in the car and just sing songs with me for hours. Just on the way. So that's why I learned how to sing. And then I didn't know my dad rapped for years. I didn't know. And then one day, who was he? I think it was my mom, actually. She said, you should speak to your dad. You know, he used to do toasting. So he used to have like more MC, like mic controlling, and he'd like, while there's a DJ and stuff on, and he'd do like the odd couple raps. I really thought I put this on silent here. He'd do like the odd couple raps and stuff. Yeah, like, I think my dad always wanted to support me in music. He just found it difficult, based on the circumstance between my mom and dad. Obviously, my upbringing was a bit split between the two. I think
they're working together.
No.
Oh.
I think my mom, due to being a Jehovah's Witness, has wanted to curb it because of a lot of stuff that happens in the industry, as we've seen recently, P. Diddy, Jay-Z, all these different, you understand, situations coming out now. So she didn't really want me involved in music. So yeah, it's funny though because she's the one who told me how to sing. So.
And did your dad support you, or?
He did, definitely. He supported me. I think it just got to a certain point where he was like, look, you need to like go now and settle into work, which I didn't understand at the time, but I understand now as a grown man. I understand it.
Bills and family.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Yeah.
I think he was worried about what would happen if I didn't settle into work and stuff like that, which is warranted. He's more than what's the word? More than right to feel that way. Like, he's right.
So, is music your only source of income now, or do you work, or?
I'm working as well. I work for the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
I work in a family contact centre, actually.
Okay.
Which, if you told me when I was 18 that I was going to work in it would be mad. Saying that, if you told me I was 21, yeah, it would have been crazy.
So what's that like?
It's rewarding, man. I generally, and it's going to sound mad, but I generally just like helping people. Purely because I didn't have much help growing up. So I like to think that I wouldn't have people in that same situation or leave people in that same situation. So yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Most of the time I'm organising prison visits and stuff like that, as well as that, obviously, family contact with kids and stuff like that. It's good, man. Especially because, like I said, growing up, I had difficulties seeing my kids. So it's nice to know that I can kind of alleviate that problem for other people.
Do you see them now?
Yeah, definitely. I see my kids on a regular basis now. My son I actually have 50-50 custody of at the moment. And my youngest daughter, she's just blossoming. She's beautiful, man. She's amazing. Yeah. I have another child.
What do they bring for you?
Pardon?
What do they bring for you? What type of emotion or what type of thoughts do they provoke for you?
You know what? My kids just make me proud in most situations. My son's a bit naughty in school sometimes, but other than that, they just make me proud. That's the honest truth. Like, especially my daughter. Don't get me wrong, like they both make me proud. My daughter, she's very caring, kind. Just like let's say for instance, the other day, my son was taking the mick out of her hair, and then she took the mick out of his hair, but he's very touchy about his hair. So he got mad and upset, and she waited for him to leave the room, and then she went, bah. And she wanted to say it when he was in there, but she knew if she said it when he was in there, she would upset him even more. And just little things like that, she's like, okay, I've gone far enough now. It's a joke. Like, we've had a little laugh. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And then my son, he just tells me he loves me all the time and hugs me all the time, which I absolutely love. Like, honestly, I love it. My daughter does as well, don't get me wrong. But I think it's important, especially for my son, that he knows if he wants a hug, he can just come and hug me.
Did you get that same type of affection from your dad?
No, but I get it now. I didn't get it. I say I didn't get it when I was younger. I think I got it up until I moved to London, and even when I came down from London to see my dad, I had it. But then I got to a certain age where I'd been the man of the house for so long. I got moved in, like my mom kind of said, go with your dad. You understand where I'm coming from? Because of what happened in London. So I felt like I was a man already. Obviously coming into a man's house is going to be a problem. So me and my dad bucked heads quite a few times, to be honest. But now, honestly, the only thing I would change is how long it took me to see the amount of effort my dad used to put in for us. Like, we used to live in London. My dad would drive all the way to London after working a week. He would drive all the way to London to get us, drive all the way back on the same day, have us to the weekend, drive all the way back on the Sunday, and then drive all the way back for himself again. And I think to myself, shit, that's what? That's like 8 hours of driving in a weekend. There's not many people that would do that. There's not many at all. And I've told him, like, I've said to my dad, I said, I'm sorry it took me so long to see. Like, I'm sorry. Because the amount of effort that takes, there's nothing else in this world that can show love like that. 8 hours. 8 hours. And sometimes it'd be even longer because coming from Birmingham to London, there's so much traffic sometimes. And he'd just be sounding away. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then I think about all the time. Well, think about all the time he would have, I'm getting a bit emotional. Think about all the time that he would have been alone, going through situations and stuff like that, and he shouldn't have been. That's honest truth. And the same way my kids give me motivation, sometimes I wonder how he get that. Because when I was going through it, I didn't keep that motivation.
It's hard being a dad.
It's weird. It's weird. That's what it is. You're told that you're responsible for this person, but then you're told you can't make the main decisions, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. No. So yeah, it's difficult. It is. It's a weird situation. That's honest truth.
What do you feel like kids need a father in their life though?
I feel like they need mom and dad. I feel like they need both. And the honest truth, if that parent is the problem, your child will find out for themselves. And people will say, oh, no, but they shouldn't have to. Unfortunately, due to the decision that you made, you decided to lay down with that person. You decided to have the child. But myself included. Yeah. Because of the decision you made, that child is now in this circumstance. So you can either let that circumstance play out, or you can say, well, I'm cutting it off. You don't get to decide anything for yourself. I'm deciding it for you. What you've done is taken an opportunity from that child to grow. Sounds horrible. And don't get me wrong, it sounds bad. You need to be in situations that are uncomfortable and that you don't like to grow. That's just how we grow. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, yeah, your child will. At the end of the day, the worst thing that's going to happen, and don't get me wrong, it's not nice. Your child's going to be sad because their parent isn't whatever. It isn't who they expected it to be, or isn't what they've been told. But they'll either be disappointed in you or disappointed in you because you stopped them seeing that person, or they'll be disappointed in the fact that that person isn't what they had in their head. And I'm telling you, it's better for them to be disappointed with the person that they are than to be disappointed with you, because now they're not just sick of that person, they're also sick of you, which
They're
means
not telling the truth.
that means that child is now alone in that point and in that position, because now, well, you didn't just tell me, you didn't just tell me the truth. You've lied to me for how many years? I'm supposed to trust you. You understand what I'm going for? So it's just weird. Everything about it's weird. Even down to like in America, for instance, if you sign a birth certificate and find out you are not biologically the father, you still have to pay child support.
Wow.
And then the question is, why are you literally motivating people to do people wrong and do people? Okay, well, I'm not sure who my baby father is, so I'm just going to get a random man that I've been sleeping with to sign the birth certificate, and he's going to have to pay me for the rest of the child's life or until the child's 18. It just doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. Eh?
It don't make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And it's like, there's silly little things like that just all over the place. Like, I remember once, I'll give you the perfect example. 27, just had my third child at 27 year. I said my third, I'll explain that in a minute. So, I wanted to get a vasectomy. Yeah, I'll explain that as well. I wanted to get a vasectomy. I went to doctors, asked them for a vasectomy. They said I needed a letter from my kids' moms to explain that they didn't want any more children from me. Then I could get a vasectomy. That's what they told me.
Married?
No.
Wow.
And they said, I think I was 27. They were saying I was too young. I was like, mate, I've got kids already. I don't want any more. You know what I'm going with? That's what they told me. Didn't make no sense. So yeah, it just don't make sense. The reason why I wanted the vasectomy, so I had my first child at 20. When that child was 10 weeks old, I found out she wasn't mine by blood, but I raised her as my own. Tried to anyway, until she was about 13. Say 13, she's going to be 14 this year. So it just doesn't. How
did you find it?
How did I find out? Oh, bro. I was looking after the baby because her mom was out clubbing. And I got a phone call, and on the phone, someone said, "Put the baby down, it's not yours." Got a phone call from a private number. I think I know who the person was now. I think they did that on a private number because they didn't want to involve themselves in the situation. They just wanted me to know.
So they're still not involved with that child?
No.
No.
The person that told me was a friend of the girl.
Wow. What was that like?
Devastating. I was broken. She was born 2 days after me as well. After my 21st birthday, 2 days after my 21st birthday. I always say, even now, I would say she was the greatest gift I ever received because she saved my life. I would have been in prison or dead if it wasn't for that point. I got kidnapped 2 weeks after she was born. Well, I stopped doing everything I was doing because she was born.
Kidnapped for what?
Let's just say I owed someone a bit of money. Literally a bit of money. It's changed when I think about it.
Drug related.
Yeah. And it was changed. And that's why the roads are dangerous, you know. I believe this person was like my big brother, like my dad away from home. And £140 he kidnapped me for.
Wow. Did he do anything to you or?
Punched me a little bit. Kept me in a van. Had me in jewelry court trying to rob people for jewelry. And the last straw, I said the last straw. It wasn't the last straw because I was scared. But he wanted me to jump out the van and rob this old lady. She had loads of gold chains on and gold rings. And I just jumped out. I looked at her and I said, "Don't move." And then I just ran. I went to hide in a barbershop on Snow Hill. I ran into the barbershop to hide. And I just asked the man, I said, "Can you hide me?" I said, "I need to hide." And the guy that was looking for me came into the barbershop, and the barber was like, "Nobody's coming here." So yeah, it was mad.
Spoke to the barber since?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I made sure I went in And I just said to him, like, you probably don't remember that. Because it's sort of like a good 6 years, 7 years afterwards. And I said, you probably don't remember. I said, but you saved my life. And he really did. Because the guy that was my older, that was my best friend, my big brother, whatever. He was total. He was crazy. Like, he was total. So, you know what I mean? Definitely.
Did you still see him about or hear from him?
I saw him once, about 4 or 5 years ago. But by that point, I was taller than him, so...
Things have changed.
Yeah. Plus, I had a pit bull with me at the time. So that's it.
You ever been to jail or anything?
No, I've been pretty close, though. Because of him.
Yes, same situations.
Mm-hmm. And when I couldn't hear from him.
So ironic, isn't
it? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man. Like, yeah, I was looking at 6 years in prison. Basically, he gave me a car. The car was hot. He didn't tell me. I'll say he didn't tell me. He did tell me, but I didn't understand what he meant, is the best way to put it. And, it's not cool to ask questions because, why for that? Pause. No Diddy and all that. So I didn't ask no questions. Got caught in the car. Was looking at 6 years. And it's funny because he got put in a cell next to me. And all he did for literally about 6 hours was scream and shout, "Yo, you're a dead man. Don't snitch, don't say nothing." He got put in prison based on that night. I didn't have to say or do anything. They said, "Yeah, you're free to go in." And it's because he was in the cell next to me threatening to kill me and everything.
Well, the road's got no mercy, man.
The road's got no mercy. The roads have no loyalty.
No.
They owe nothing. No, they owe nothing to no one. Nothing to no one. As well as that, I've never really understood why you'd be so determined. Like the other day, I was talking to someone about what's his name, YWN, something like that. He made a song about killing his two friends, and I thought to myself, the road is the only community where he was like, yeah, but the song's a banger. And I'm saying, in no other walk in life would you listen to someone talk about killing their friend and be like, that's all right, No other walk of life. None. It's not normal. Like, one time I remember I was in West Brom and I heard these geezers that were talking about going to another ends to go and do it. And I said, bro, you're not going to go there and do this to one person, and then one of you going to end up getting it, and it's going to be forever until there's no one left.
Yeah.
I said, when Tesco runs out of food, do you think they go to Asda and start kicking off? When Asda run out of food, do you think they go to Lidl? I said, more time they call each other and say, look, we need this right now because we've got no. They change the packaging. There you go. That's it.
That's why them guys are winning. And
there you go. And I looked at them, and one of the boys was standing there. He was like, wow. And the rest of them were like, and it's like, really think about it. And even them, like, I said to them, I said, you lot are pushing all this food around. I said, really and truly, you lot could be running a trucking company or a delivery company, and you're making legit money, where you ain't got to worry about, how can I make it look like I'm living legit? You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about, there's a geezer down there. And even down to things like, that keyboard stick back there. Even down to things like stabbings and shootings. Everyone's carrying knives because they're scared. Everyone's carrying guns because they're scared.
Yeah. It's a vicious circle, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, well, if you're scared, stop carrying it. If you're scared, stop carrying it. The higher, I think it's like 70% of people that get stabbed with their own knife.
Wow.
So you ain't even good at carrying them. It don't make sense.
You ain't even protecting yourself.
You're not even protecting
anymore,
yourself.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and the thing is, if you're that scared, go to a self-defense class. You don't. There's no reason why you should be running around like that. None whatsoever.
And there's so many of them now, as opposed to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So many mixed martial arts or martial arts in general that.
Never mind. Turn on YouTube.
Yeah, you can watch things. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it will teach you perfect, but turn on YouTube, get yourself some boxing. There you go. Get some boxing gloves and a bag and lights. I can promise you. But the worst thing is, most of the time you get into these situations, people don't want to fight.
Yeah, they just pull the weapon.
Yeah. You understand where I'm coming from? And it's like...
It's getting younger and younger as well.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. And it's getting to the point where... like I said, like, my son's 13. I'm telling you now, if I suspect my son of carrying anything like that, he's getting pulled up. I'm going to tell him, yo, stand in your room, empty everything. I want to see everything, every single little thing.
I think that's the time you send him to martial arts work.
That's what it is. Because I'm telling you now, like, everybody wants their kids to be safe. Make sure your child is not the one making everyone else unsafe. Everybody thinks that their child is a saint. I get that. They're not.
Yeah, once you're at the door, you don't know what's
happening. They're human. Like, even my son, I've said to him, like, my son, party mouth when he's with his friends. I know. I already know it. I know it because I was the same. For no reason, just effing and blinding, just because I could.
Yeah.
You understand? So I said to him, look, I'm not going to tell you can't swear. But understand, if you're swearing all the time, what you're doing is making yourself look unintelligent. That's the honest truth. That's it.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, you can swear with your friends, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you not to because I know you're going to do that anyway. But don't swear in front of me. Don't swear in front of your mom. Don't swear in front of your family. That's it. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. Don't swear in school, obviously. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like now as well, especially our generation, see our kids more as friends. And don't get me wrong, obviously you need to be a friend with your child, but there needs to be boundaries.
Do you think that's because there's a lot of us that had kids at a younger age?
Definitely. I think that plays part of it. I definitely think that plays part in it. But even then, I think there still needs to be some kind of boundary. You understand where I'm coming from? Like,
100%.
Yeah, because that's where it starts. If you have no boundaries at home, why would you go out into the world and think you're going to have boundaries?
Yeah.
Like, it don't make sense. Like, for you to feel like you can stab someone means you think that you're above anything and anyone else. Even if it's because you're scared. It just, like, if I'm scared, I'm going to go to make sure I can protect myself. You understand where I'm from? But I'm not going to go to a knife or a gun because that's not protection at that point. It's like self-defense. If you're in a situation where someone comes up to you and hits you and you punch them in their face and that's it, cool. If you punch that person in the face and they start stamping them out when they fall on the floor, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem, not no one else. You understand what I'm coming from?
Yeah. So how do you think, as a civilization, we deal with these situations that our kids are going through?
I think the first thing that needs to change is the music that's promoted. Like, and specifically in the black community with this part, we can't call Chinese people a slur. We can't call white people a slur. We can't call Indian people a slur, but we call each other the N-word. And then we get mad when other people do it.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a song made about murdering their friends. I've got murder on my mind. Something like that. That's what the song goes like. And it come out that he's in prison at the moment because he's going through a court case where 2 of his friends were murdered, and this song might have been linked to it.
Because he snitched on himself.
Yeah. But the thing is this, he snitched on himself, but never mind that. People were dancing and partying to the song, even though it had I've got murder on my mind in it. Now, okay, here it is then. People will say Grand Rising. I don't say morning because words are spells. I've got murder on my mind is not a spell. It's not a spell. It's not a spell. When I see my boy, I'm going to juk. That's what? So which part of that's positive? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Where's the inspiration in that?
Like, well, but this is what I'm trying to say. Like a lot of music, a lot of the culture, the hip hop culture, the drill culture, grind culture is talking about stabbing, killing, shooting, all of these. But then you'll say words and spells, so you'll say Grand Rising.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. How are you telling me words and spells so you won't say good morning, but you'll stand on a track and talk about I got a 4599. No, milli. No, don't be silly. I'll touch a boy. Even that in itself, you're gonna say no Diddy and pause, but then you're gonna say I'll touch a boy. It doesn't make sense. You understand where I'm coming from? It's all just contradictory. Like, all of it. And like I said, I think now, rather than complaining about what we've come from, or this is what I do because this is the life I've had to live, tell people to get out of this. We need to know. All right, I had this, but I'm living like this now because I've done X, Y, and Z. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I definitely believe it's a time for a new time.
100%. The way I look at it is, at the moment, the grime, drill, hip hop, anything like that. I say like that. Anything where you're talking about murdering the same people as you, and you're talking about, if I don't trust no, I'll do this and I'll do that. Any music like that, even the films, all you're doing is being a cut man. Yeah, you put a little plaster on the cut. Well, if you're giving someone a future, you're the trainer, you're in the corner saying, look, next you need to do X, Y, and Z, boom, boom, boom. But when you're just complaining or just saying, I come from this is a bit difficult, boom, boom, every single day, how can you see something good or be on a positive way out if all you ever do is speak out negativity? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think that's pushed intentionally?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
To breed more negativity?
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot, like, even think about R&B. R&B now. R&B songs used to be, I don't want to know. So you used to be singing, whatever, you're singing about your feelings, your emotions. R&B now is, why is it? What's the song now? If your girl come close to me, she ain't getting home like she's supposed to be. And it's like, bruh, so wait that. So what you're doing now is singing about taking someone else's woman, but you want positivity to come from it. Just doesn't make sense. You understand where I'm coming from? There's a lot of, like, people will say, I want this and I want that, but their actions prove very different, show very different. Man.
So in that sense, taking it back a little to the religion, who do you think runs the world?
I'm gonna sound like a madman, that's why I'm laughing.
You're not in front of me, mate. I'm telling you now.
Do you want to know the honest truth? As humans, I don't think we belong on this planet.
In what fashion?
That sounds mad when I say it out loud. Every other animal on this planet doesn't need what we need to survive on this earth. Every other animal on this planet.
And they've got a pattern as well.
Yep. Whereas us as humans, and if you look up higher intelligence, and look and see what it says. One sec. I'm gonna quickly do this. This is my life, you know. It says something higher intelligence, something about the way they live. No. Wait there. I need to find the exact definition. Extraterrestrial life that is capable of thinking purposeful and actively. Yeah?
So what do you take from that?
What do I take from it? Okay, animals live by instinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do we live by?
Impulse.
Not instinct though, right?
No.
There you go. So we have already shown that we're of a higher intelligence than all of these animals. Not only that, we have to live in these buildings. Some of us burn in the sun, some don't. Some consume, some can't. As well as that, have you ever thought to yourself, why are we more interested in Mars and what's up there when we don't even know what's in the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think we're supposed to be here. That's the honest truth.
Do you think someone dropped us off?
Oh my days, bro. This is going to sound mad. So, I don't know. Obviously, no one knows. Even everyone talking about heaven and hell don't know. But I generally believe that our conscience is somewhere else. That's why we dream things. That's why we receive different images and different whatever. And I believe that basically what happens when you pass is you go up and they ask you, have you learned X, Y, Z? Do you believe no, or do you want to go back? And a lot of us are choosing to come back. That's how I believe it. And I think even babies, like my daughter, for instance, oh my gosh. So she's born in a time period where cameras weren't really a thing. You got your phone on it, take a picture. Yeah. When she was about 2, I said to her, pretend take a picture, and she went like that. She'd never in her life seen a camera. You understand where I'm coming from? She'd never seen a normal camera. That's what she did. Never seen one. Now, in my head, she's already been here, just in a different body. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. And I generally believe that we are reincarnated in some way, shape, or form. I couldn't tell you how, don't know how. Well, I generally believe it could be to do with bloodlines, and that's why the royal family keep bloodlines. That's a whole different conversation, brother. I'm not gonna. It's a whole different conversation.
We could go for hours.
But yeah, it's just I think like I said, I believe in some kind of reincarnation. I don't heaven and hell. I don't believe in, because I see men on a daily on earth live in heaven and live in hell. So I
think it might be here.
Yeah, I think this is heaven and hell. Like, that's not an issue. Like, a man here could have 10 billion pounds or 10 million pounds, whatever, and be the happiest man alive. But you've also seen men living on the street, been the saddest. You understand where I'm coming from? So, like, heaven and earth is already here.
Which one's the happiest?
You tell me. That's how it goes, bro. That's what it is. And like, yeah, I don't know. When it comes to us as humans, I just don't think we should be on this planet necessarily. Could be wrong, completely wrong, but I'm more than willing to accept if I am wrong. But unless you can prove to me that we definitely started here, because even down to, oh yeah, we all started in Africa. Okay, prove it to me.
Well, there's depictions of so-called star people before we had Bibles.
There you go.
So
it's ridiculous. Like, I think about us as a human race, and don't get me wrong. Obviously, we've come forward, but we're going backwards. We're going backwards. Like, intelligence is definitely slipping, because first, it started with calculators. Now we've got these phones that can literally do everything. We've got computers that can do everything. We've got ChatGPT. We can just ask. I don't have it personally, but yeah, we can just ask questions and get answers to them. We're losing it. We're losing intelligence. Some people don't even wash their own dishes. They got a dishwasher. Mm-hmm. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. I'm not saying you're lazy or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, that's how easy and how quick it is for us to just give up our intelligence. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously washing dishes, you don't have to be smart, but that's just an example. You understand where I'm coming from? Like, they're already trying to make electric cars that drive themselves. Mm-hmm. They've already made them with some watches. So you're making it so we don't have to think at all. That's why it comes across like. And the thing about not thinking is, if you don't think, you can't decipher things if you don't think. If somebody else is thinking for you, they're literally telling you, yeah, go do this, do it. That's it. You're controlled. You are told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Cool. You're basically in a prison, just outside of prison. That's the way I look at life.
How do we move past that?
Stop being divided.
Stop the divide.
Yeah. Like I said, if everyone was aiming for a common goal, then it wouldn't be like, for instance, everyone, say now, I don't know, a party started to stop radiators being so cold. Yeah. If you had everyone join that party, I can guarantee they would find a way to stop it happening. But because everyone is, well, you're worried about the radiators, I'm worried about the curtains. You're worried about the curtains, I'm worried about the blinds. You're worried about the blinds, I'm worried about the handles on the windows. You understand where I'm coming from? Everyone's worried about something different.
Yeah.
Like, there's sexuality over here. There's genders over here. There's this over here. Cool. Let's worry about the big issue up here. Then we can sort out those subcategories. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. That's what it is. That's how I believe anyway. And the worst thing is, I generally, once you deal with that big presence and that big problem, a lot of those subcategories will disappear.
Just fall into place.
Yeah, they'll disappear. Because, I don't know, I can't explain. It's very rare that I walk down the road and somebody goes, "You N-word." You know, it doesn't happen. It's happened to me when I was younger. That's because of the area I lived in. But very rarely does that happen, like, to anyone. So what are you worried about racism for? Like, until somebody physically puts a hand on you based on the colour of your skin, I don't believe you faced racism. You've had someone say something horrible. No.
You think sometimes that could be circumstantial?
It definitely can. It definitely can, because especially in situations, just people, myself, for example, I've said some things to people that I wouldn't dream of saying now. I wouldn't even mean to say now. But as well as that, there's all these different things to help people. We want people to stop being this and stop being that and boom, boom, boom. Well, that would suggest that either people can change, which you lot said you hate, or it would suggest that, what was I going to say? Or it would suggest that them being angry and having this voice, like, that's fine. The only person they're holding back talking like that is them. It's not me. If you are angry to the point where you feel like you need to shout slurs at me, what you're doing is stopping yourself. And you're showing me that you're scared, really and truly, because you don't understand, which is fine. You can be scared all you want. That's all right. As long as you don't touch me, you say what you want.
I think just the difference that some people are scared of.
Yeah, that's what it is. And as well as that, I think it comes down to how much you learn. How much you learn. Like, a lot of people take other people's word for gospel. I would listen to someone say something and I'll go and do my own research on it. That's just how I am. That's completely how I am.
I think that's the best way nowadays to do
like,
it.
Even with people though, like my mum thinks, I love my mum to be shit, but she doesn't get on with one of my neighbours, one of my old neighbours. And I live in the house that I grew up in with my mum, so we bought the house and my mum moved out and I lived in it. And the same neighbour still lives there. So I spoke to them and they spoke to me and they were like, your mum doesn't. And I said, look, my mum's opinion, like, I love my mum, like I said, my mum's opinion isn't mine. I said, I'd rather get to know you myself first. Like, that's it. That's how it is. And me and them were all right until something happened. I should have listened to my mum. Is the honest truth. But still, I would rather get to know someone for myself. I'd rather have my own opinion on it. That's just how I am. Because, I don't know, in every situation, everyone can be different.
Yeah.
And just because you get treated one way by someone or feel like you've been treated by some way or by someone doesn't mean I'm going to be the same and feel the same. That's just how I am.
So if you could go back to that 8-year-old in London, what would you say to him?
It's going to get easier. And you're not as alone as you think. I think growing up, I really felt alone. It's the honest truth. And I didn't need to. Because, honestly, I had my dad. Like, I had my mom as well. This makes me get emotional.
All right, man.
I would have told him, you're not alone.
I'll pray with you.
Cool, bro. Yeah, I would have told him you're not alone. That's it. Never mind 18, 28. I would have said you're not alone.
Do you think we need a bit of that mentorship?
Definitely could have done guidance. It's difficult. My older brother passed away when I was a baby as well. And I very often think how different it would have been if I had my older brother.
It's all right.
It's difficult, man. But yeah,
This is what creativity is for, man. Express those feelings.
mhm.
You get it out into the world, and hopefully someone else can take something from it that,
Helps them.
and they don't have to go through what you did,
Yeah,
feel what
100%.
you did.
If I'm honest, that's why I talk so much now. I used to keep a lot to myself. One, it broke me, but two, I found the more I spoke to people about it, the more they would talk to me about their problems. So yeah, that's what I did, man. And I don't shut up about it. That's not an issue.
I'm not sure how much you've looked at the channel, but 90% of the people have been strangers, and it's amazing how some little things we've walked the same paths and we don't even know each other.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, definitely.
it's amazing that we sit in those dark times and we think we're alone, and we're really not, man.
Yeah, it's true, man.
We're really not.
It's true. I isolated myself, especially by the time I got to 28. I isolated myself. But yeah, talking is important, man. I learned that going to therapy. That's not an issue. I went to therapy and I let everything out. I spoke to my therapist about everything. I had some very uncomfortable conversation with my dad, very uncomfortable conversation with my mom. With a lot of people, to be fair, even with my kids' moms. It was something that needed to be done. So yeah, I did it.
I think that's what the world's running from.
Yeah, uncomfortable conversations.
Vulnerability and being uncomfortable. They don't want to feel it.
It's true.
And it's the best way to break through.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go through it physically, is the truth. And sometimes, I say physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
If you don't have those conversations, that's what's going to happen. If you can't hear, you must feel. And everybody takes that as, my parents are going to tell me off if I don't do what they tell me. But literally, if you don't talk about it, if you don't hear, then you will feel. That's how it is.
So is there a piece of advice that you've received through your life that you'd like to pass on to the next generation?
Be yourself unapologetically. Be yourself, man. We live in a world where it's hard enough as it is. But trying to be someone that you aren't is the hardest thing ever.
Thank you for your time, man, and I want to thank you for your vulnerability.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
No problem, man. Thank you.
We're not that different. We're not defined by age or race. We're not that different in any time or any place, brother. Believe your hustle and your grind, sister. We need your voice, so don't be silent. That's life.